So, you just bought night vision. Congratulations. The only problem is you just spent $2,000 on a set and your wife's boyfriend isn't really happy about you spending more money. Don't worry, I get it. You sell your Funko Pop collection on Facebook, but you're only able to get about $150. Nowhere near enough to buy something legit for an IR device, or even something like a Sumo gear. In my opinion, you get two options, and we'll be going over both of them today. The first is the XK68, a current channel favorite, and the next one is this, the PERST 4. Well, PERST 4 clone. We'll be going over both of these units, as well as performance and use, and hopefully in the end, you can make your own decision on which one you want to buy. Let's get started. Both laser devices are sitting at what I would deem as the lowest point you'd want to pay for an IR laser device. Maybe even lower, but that's up to you. The XK68 is sitting right at $130 on Amazon, or on SMS Laser's own website with red, green, and blue visible laser options. The Sotac PERST 4 goes by many names and can be found on airsoft websites as well as eBay in the range of $95 to $120-ish, with every color of laser you want, as long as it's green. While either device will give you IR and visible laser capability, the XK68 has a decently powerful flashlight. The PERST also lacks included accessories, with only a tape switch and adjustment tool coming in the hardshell case. In stark contrast, the XK comes with the multiple Allen keys needed, tape switch, rubber mounts for said tape switch, battery, and charger. Not sure if I need to be counting the half-assed manual, but it is included in the box. With batteries loaded, the XK68 comes in right above 1.5 ounces heavier than the PERST, although having to add an additional flashlight to your weapon will negate any weight savings. Pivoting to a quick refresher on XK's usage, this device leaves very little to want in terms of controls, for better or worse. You have virtually any possible combination of white light, visible laser, or IR laser to choose from on the knob. Hell, you can even turn on all three for whatever reason. I would trade at least one for a way to put the device in standby mode though. With the couple outings I've had with it so far, I found that the unit is easy to turn on by mistake, an issue that's compounded by its sensitive button on the side of the device body. I definitely recommend taking the battery out of the XK during transport. Zeroing adjustments are simple enough, with 4 Allen screws to move the separated IR and visible laser. With no audible or felt clicks, adjusting the XK can feel vague, but is at least consistent. One of the XK's Achilles heels is its tape switch. Keeping in theme with the main device body, it's far too easy for the switches to be mistakenly turned on. You can blame it on the pronounced button placement or light switch presses. Either way, it's best not to have the device in a laser setting until you know exactly where it's aiming. Your eyes will thank me. This has slowly gotten worse for my specific tape switch, so it may be a defect. As far as logic functions, both continuous and momentary modes are here, so pick one and fire away. The last gripe I have with the XK68 is the actual mount to attach the device to a pick rail. Returning viewers may remember that my mount was actually crooked out of the box, requiring me to take it apart and reseat it so that it didn't look stupid. Or I guess more stupid, on my rifle. My repair does seem to be holding up with no visible movement. Funnily enough, my complaints for the tape switch and mount of the XK68 are the exact opposite for the Sotac PERST. The tape switch makes actual sense, with the switch face in line with the housing, requiring a more deliberate press to turn on. Pressing it quickly puts it in momentary mode, while holding it down for 2 seconds puts it into continuous mode. I'm not sure if mine may be defective, but as far as I can tell, there isn't a strobe function or turbo mode like a real Zeniko PERST 4 has. The knob on the end of the switch controls the brightness levels for the laser. The knob can free spin in either direction. It'll be up to you to remember which level the laser is on. Lastly, the tape switch has a lockout bolt, making accidental engagements a non-issue. While the mount may not be EOTech worthy, it's a definite upgrade over the XK. Half the mount is the device body itself, hopefully allowing as little potential shift as possible. This configuration also allows the PERST to sit more snug to the pick rail, therefore being less of a snagging point on your rifle. Operation of the actual device body is a lot simpler and more efficient. One switch covers 3 modes: visible laser, standby, and IR laser mode. Having everything labeled in Cyrillic is only a problem for the first couple of minutes. You'll soon remember the switch positions. The laser turrets are covered and also adjustable using a screwdriver or bullet casing, a welcome design. There are audible and felt clicks when adjusting the joined lasers, and the movement is more precise than the XK, which can jump multiple MOA with one twist. If you're not using the tape switch, there are two separate buttons to turn the device on, located on top and rear of the device. Both buttons are slightly recessed and have a good weight to them. On top of the device, there are two buttons to adjust the brightness levels of both the IR and visible laser, depending on what you have engaged. While this seems like a great addition, it's also my first issue with the device. The makers of the Sotac PERST use the vortex trick for lowering brightness, aka make the refresh rate ass and introduce flickering when the laser is in movement. While this may not seem an issue for some people, it's definitely noticeable for me, and I'll see a bunch of flickering laser points instead of a more flowing trail compared to full power and the XK. It's almost impossible to show this on camera since refresh rates for our eyes are different, but you can sort of see the issue with this footage. Each section visible to the camera is solid on full brightness, where it's dotted on the low settings. Just imagine the section following wherever the laser point goes, and you get the idea. My last complaint of the PERST is a major one, and it's an issue with the fact that the visible and IR lasers are supposedly co-aligned. They're not. For the test, I mounted the PERST to a weighted plank and pointed it to a fence approximately 7 yards away. I then switched to IR and visible laser output, making sure to put both modes at max brightness. As you can see, with both laser footages overlaid, the laser or weight never moved. The issue is that at 7 yards, both lasers were approximately 5 inches apart, though in the housing, the laser emitters are about 3/8 of an inch apart. This misalignment may not be a huge issue if you're wanting to run the PERST in close quarters, or obviously as an airsoft laser, but it effectively turns it into a single laser device for a real steel weapon at any long range. You can either zero the laser for visible or IR mode, and in turn makes the opposite output useless as an accurate aiming option. Fresh off that lousy bit of news, let's compare the XK's and PERST laser output levels before going to the PERST live fire test. Both visible lasers are useful enough in low light, able to throw beams and stay in a tight circle to the 300-yard edge of this footage with no problems. I know, different colors, blah blah blah, you get the idea. Once you step down the brightness of the PERST, you can see a noticeable difference between the two, although still easily seen in any reasonable sense. Things get interesting once you switch to IR, however, with the PERST high output handily going above the level of the XK. To be fair, I have no experience with restricted IR power yet, but I can see the PERST being extremely useful for long-range target identification or similar uses. Once you step down the power of the PERST, both IR devices are sitting at roughly the same visual brightness. In a previous video, I put the XK68 through a brief burn down of 175 rounds on my AK to see how it held up. While this may seem like a low round count, it was enough to show that the device had a wandering laser zero after 100 rounds, although it was slight and somewhat consistent in one direction. Besides that, the unit didn't have any problems. My experience with the XK is in that video, if you want to know more. For the PERST, I attached it to the same M-LOK rail on my AK for testing. Addressing a comment about a possible drift concern for using M-LOK, I used white paint to keep an eye on the pick rail to make sure it didn't move. And nothing to worry about, just a slight accident, nothing to see here, guys. In a roundabout sense, this was actually perfect since the paint never broke, showing the pick section never moved. Anyways, I did the same-ish round count, shooting 180 rounds, including the accuracy group shots at the 0, 120, and 180 round mark. As you can see, all my shots at 25 yards were largely in a similar area. The laser is definitely as accurate as I was, using red dot. I think this is due to the laser having a less shift compared to the XK. I took pictures showing the laser and red dot groupings throughout the test, and you can see the laser drift slightly downwards and then upwards in respect to the red dot. I did have some bizarre quirks pop up, with the first being the adjustment turrets. With my testing before mounting to a weapon, the laser adjusted fine for both windage and elevation. At the range, the movements ended up being mixed together, causing the laser to move diagonally, or mixing both windage and elevation, with either turret. At least I was able to zero the thing, so I'll say this is a borderline minor thing to expect from a $95 laser. The second quirk was that the laser would frequently cut out every 45 rounds or so, requiring me to loosen and retighten the battery cap. My guess is that the cap was slowly turning loose, an issue that the XK never had. I think it's time for the big disclaimer of that with either of these laser modules, you're buying what's essentially airsoft equipment being marketed for real steel use. You may receive a laser with no issues at all, or a complete dud. As long as you're not risking your life with these devices, I don't see any problems running them as a secondary laser device or just a throwaway conversation piece. Be prepared for issues and you'll be fine. In the end, it's up to you to decide on what you want to try your luck on. With the PERST 4, you're getting the Cyrillic vibe of a Zeneco product without paying the $1,500 used price for the real thing, due to the sanctions against Russia. The brightness adjustment can be a cool feature if you don't mind some refresh rate stuttering, and being able to control it with a much better tape switch is a big plus. Contrasting the pros, I think you're paying a lot for a lamp that has no IR or visible illumination, which will be an additional cost for you. There's also a good chance the lasers will not be co-aligned, judging from other reviewers and my own experience, so pick visible or IR mode and keep it there. Lastly, there's a difference between cheap Chinese junk and actual counterfeiting. Unless Sotac or whoever makes this thing has a private agreement from Zeneco, this is a blatant ripoff. I wouldn't blame you if this was a deal breaker. With the XK68, you're getting a clean sheet original design, something that has become increasingly recognizable in the cheap IR game. With the included flashlight, you have great features and functionality packed in a tidy, all-metal design for less than $150, something not even Somo Gear can do. Great features also roll into the included accessories, with everything you need to start shooting included in the box. Except for some minor gripes about button sensitivity, my only problem is with the pick mount. I would recommend either Loctiting or applying epoxy to that section so that it has a better chance of staying put. And of course, it wouldn't be one of my videos without throwing SMS Laser under the bus. Within weeks of my video showing that they had doubled the XK's street price off of eBay and Alibaba, any way to buy the device, besides from SMS Laser themselves, vanished. I get it. A company has to store inventory in the US, pay for marketing and all their costs, but it's still a kick in the teeth knowing you're buying a laser with $65 worth of build quality for twice as much. Speaking directly to SMS Laser, you need to start acting like a real company if you're going to go down this road. Actually put some information in the warranty section of your website. Only having return information kind of speaks volumes to what's happening with the devices. Maybe actually put some battery safety info down if you're going to bother having a section. As for your About Us page, it isn't for calling out critics.
What in the goddamn hell are you talking about?
With the end of the XKs and PERST live fire test, I actually hit 1,000 rounds on my Blemed Palmetto GF3 AK. In the next video, I'll be going over my experiences with the rifle and the process of getting warranty work done, as well as what potential issues you may get with buying a blemished rifle. Stay tuned. Let me know down in the comments if you have experiences with either the XK68 or the PERST 4 clone, or anything else I should take a look at. The PERST was actually a suggestion from a previous video's comment, so keep them coming. Thanks guys, see you in the next one.